Hey everyone, how's it going? So what are we working on today? Somebody complained about it. I got to change that up. If you think of something else for me to say, let me know. Anyway, so what are we working on? What am I working on today? I got a 16 Volkswagen Tiguan, and customer's complaint is the battery light is on while driving. Usually that means it's not charging. Who knows? We're going to find out. So I'm actually running a code scan on it right now. Let's just see if that shows anything. It's actually almost complete. It's up at 80%. So let's let that complete. Once that completes, then we're going to check the battery first. You may as well check everything that you can. I don't have like a charging system tester per se, but I'm going to show you how you can do this pretty much. I can't do like a loaded test, stuff like that, but you can kind of figure it out by turning accessories and stuff on. But yeah, I'm going to show you, testing the battery, testing the charging system using a digital volt ohm meter. And I have a fluke. You don't have to use a fluke. I actually fixed my fluke. I mentioned way back when that my fluke went poo-poo. So somebody told me take it apart and clean the contact wheel, the back portion of it, clean it out with electrical contact cleaner. I don't remember who said that to me, but somebody said that in the comments. I did that. It's been working fine ever since. I actually thought it was done for, but it's been working fine ever since. Okay, so let's see what codes we have. All right, so we have nothing in engine, nothing in tranny. Brake electronics, we have power steering control module, no signal communication, not worried about that. Central locking, not worried about that. All right, yeah, there's really nothing here to be concerned with. So let me shut this thing down, because right now it's in run position, and this thing's got 97,000 miles. So we're just going to shut down, because it's a push start right there. And let's go underneath the hood. And your battery is located in here. All right, so we're just going to use my little battery tester here. It's a great little battery tester for the price, I'll tell you. It's very impressed with it, how well it works. It was under 30 bucks. Okay, so looking at connections up like that. It's going to ask you, is it a 12 volt system? Yes. 500 amps. How many amps is this? And it's 680. So we're going to select 680. Up arrow. If you're off a little bit, it's not going to make that much of a difference. So let's see what it says. Now, I'm going to explain something here in a second. 725 said it's good. And it tells you battery's good. See the arrows up, down? Percentage charge, 100. State of charge, 65%. Ohms of resistance, 12.39. Okay, so the battery's good. We're not worried about that. All right, now what I was going to tell you, when I was running the scan, I had the key on, so the lights were on. It's got daytime running lights. Lights were on, obviously key was on, and the scanner was hooked up. So that puts kind of a load on the battery. I prefer to put a slight load on the battery for a period of time first. That'll give you a truer test with this type of a battery tester. There's many of these out there. I forgot what they're actually technically called, because the old school battery testers actually put a load on it. So I put a load on with the vehicle first. So that battery's good. I'm not worried about the battery. Let's go into the scanner, and we're going to start this thing up. I haven't done anything. This is the first time I'm actually in the car was when I hooked the scanner up. So and I don't see a battery light on. I see a power steering light on. Oh, there's the battery light right there. Okay. So let's do this. Let's go to engine management for a minute. Let's go to data. Let's see what it tells me here. Oops, I realize that chime. I'm so oblivious to the chime that I know I apologize, because a lot of times I don't even realize it's going off. Battery voltage 11,844. What does that tell you? Tells you it's not charging. Let's actually go underneath the hood and check. All right. There's my fluke. I don't even have to do that. I didn't do a visual. I should have done a visual first. I didn't even bother. Like I said, this is the first time I walked out to it. Let me show you. All right. So at least this thing doesn't have a belt-driven water pump. Now, something broke. What it is, I don't know. Okay, we're gonna have to get this thing on the lift. I think the water pump is driven behind the cover there. Yeah. All right. So let's shut this down. So obviously it's not charging. But let me just show you with the meter here real quick. And go negative, positive, 12 volts, not charging. Okay, what happens if you hook this up backwards? You're not going to ruin anything. Let me hook it up backwards. Your meter, if you hook it up backwards to a battery source, like such. Let me show you what the meter does. Negative 12. Because you're backwards. So it's not going to ruin anything. Alright, I'm going to have to get this thing up on a lift. I don't know if I actually have an open lift at the moment. Let me check. Let me get right back to you. Okay, so inside here on the shop, a general quick inspection. The pulleys all turn nicely. Here's the tensioner. The tensioner, I don't know if you can see it. Can I focus down on it? Hello. It's not rocking like I'm looking for it to do this type of a movement instead of a linear movement, and it seems to be fine. You know, so what could have happened? I don't know. Let me start it real quick, because I want to inspect the actual crank, the actual harmonic balancer down there. Oops. You can just see it down there. Let me start it up just so I can see what that looks like when it's spinning. Hey, it's always possible that, you know, the belt was just deteriorated and finally broke, unless something got caught up and went up in there and created the issue. You know, caught the belt. Anything's possible. I gotta let this down a little bit. I think, if the door open. All right. See if that's enough. You gotta step on the brake in order to start it. So I gotta manipulate myself into the vehicle. Actually, let me stick it in park so it doesn't walk away when I get out. Harmonic balancer is spinning true. So what actually happened? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm gonna get a belt coming for this thing. The AC felt fine. Yeah, but that's this AC compressor does not have a clutch. It has a chamber inside. I forgot exactly what they call it, but it basically activates like a solenoid inside that blocks off a chamber, and then it builds up pressure. It's always working, except when you don't have the AC on, it basically opens up the chamber, and it allows the pressure to like release internally. So let me get a belt coming for this thing and see if I can't figure out what's going on. Like I said, it's possible just broke the belt. We'll find out. Okay, so we're going to pull the wheel off here, and then we're going to move the inner fender liner out so we can get a better look. Volkswagen uses these caps on a lot of vehicles, and you have to get inside of them. Let's see if you can see this. And I actually have this hook tool that I had made up to grab it and pull it. It just goes to the inside to grab it and pull. So you take these off. Now, a lot of the Volkswagens will actually have the tool, well, it's supposed to, in the trunk or with the spare tire changing stuff. Like I said, it's supposed to be there, doesn't mean it's going to be there. Alright, so from this point, we're going to pull these lugs off. So this does not have the strange Volkswagen locking lugs. Let me go get a tool for this. Alright, so these are 17s. I can't stand stud bolts. I'd much rather have studs and lugs. And the reason being is because once you take all the bolts out, there's nothing except the end of the hub flange to hold the wheel in place. So sometimes, like this, the whole thing wants to come right off. Alright, so we're going to put the wheel off to the side. And now, you can also take a quick look at the brakes, and the pads themselves are fine. Alright, so now, on the inside here, you have a retainer screw here, and that's a Torx. So let me get a Torx for that. There's a couple of them on here, so let me get a tool for this. Alright, just back you up there a little bit. I have a long Torx on here. Take a couple of these out. Might be some underneath too, I don't recall. I'll have to look, I'm pretty confident there is. Yeah, there is. Alright, so let's put the car up in the air. Now, in case you're wondering, you see the extension cord there? I have a battery charger hooked up to it. I think I've mentioned in the past I usually will put a battery charger on a car if I can. So let's get the rest of these screws out. So I also need to get a good look up there and see. I don't have a film crew or anything, so you know, if I miss stuff or I'm not showing you everything, I apologize. This thing does have an oil leak. Alright, let's move this back and see if we can't get the shield out a little more. I think it's just a matter of a few more screws getting them out of there. It's not like I work on these every day. So I'm not 100% certain on what I need. Alright. Oops, I know I just hit the camera, I apologize for that. And let me move you to this position so you can see this a little better. Pan you back a little more. And the shield has already been broken. We're going to just wrap this up and out of the way. And let me get a bungee cord or something. Manipulated enough. Alright, hang on a second, let me get a bungee cord. Alright, there you can actually see a better view of it. And here, like I said, that's a clutchless compressor. I'm probably not explaining it right, what I had to explain, but I think you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. So here, we're just going to get this all out of the way. And it's jammed up in between there. Let me see if I can have you watch me. You might not be able to. Might be able to, might not be able to. Let's see. Get some wrenches. No, I can't use a wrench. Hang on one second. Let me get a socket for this. Oops. All right. So, there we go. That's all I wanted to do. Now, let me see if I can't feed the new belt in. That may be a process with you watching. But let's... All right. So now, what you got to kind of do is tuck it in between this intercooler pipe. See that? You get it in place. So I'm really at this point not sure what happened, why I blew the belt off, but I'll show you the belt in a second after I get this one in place. But this one, apologize, I hit the camera again. All right. Okay. I got a funny feeling you guys are going to be in my way here. Oh, maybe not. So feel around and make sure the belt is in the grooves correctly. All right, everything seems okay. All right, so let's pull you back out of there. And here's the belt. It looks like it rubbed on something. I don't know, but that could have been when it blew apart. I have no clue. All right, hang on. Now if you look close too, that there looks like a lot of belt dust mixed with oil. So what happened? I don't know. The belt is far enough away from everything there. Did somebody maybe put a belt on this thing at some point and put it on 1 feet off and it eventually rubbed or eventually broke? I don't know. I'm just feeling the belt. You see that? I think you can. Not sure. All right, let's let this thing down and start it up and see what happens. Let me just move everything out of the way. I'm not going to put all of that back together. There's the bungee cord. I want to see and make sure this thing is charging. Alright, so there you see my battery charger. That's one of those, what they call a smart charger. Or intelligent charger or something like that. But, you know, it'll shut off on its own. It's almost at 100% now. But yeah, as you see from up top here, it doesn't look like anything's in the way. So, what happened? I do not know. Alright, let's shut this down. Like I said, I like to charge up batteries too, especially if you have the opportunity to, because this way you're not relying on the alternator to charge everything up. You know, especially from a dead battery standpoint. Put that off there. Actually, hang on a second, let me take my gloves off. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook my meter back up. Alright, oh, I gotta let the lift down a little more. Okay. It moved a little bit because this side's not touching anymore. Hang on a second, I gotta manipulate myself in there. I have to flow inside. Alright, so we are inside. Let me shut that off for a second. Sorry, I always forget about the chime. Well, actually it's showing right up there. 14 volts, 13.9. Okay. I may have to reload because this thing's just been sitting there. Because now I have a check engine light and everything else too. Data items not supported. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to go back into it, shut it down and go back in because I left it plugged in. But let's go check on our meter and see what it shows. All right, 1419. Let me prop this up a little bit because it shifted just a little bit because it came down too much. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, there. You can even see on the end of the belt here, there's no wear marks or anything. So what exactly happened? I don't know. Who knows? It's charging. Everything seems fine. All right, let's shut this down, and we're going to put all this back together with the wheel and that. And then we got to clear all the lights and everything else when we're done with that. Oh, I got to go down there to shut it off. Okay. All right. Kind of reminds me of the scene in the Blues Brothers while they were waiting for the elevator, or in the elevator. Now we take a secondary look down here and we don't see anything. So, okay, I mean, everything looks good to me. All right, let's get this back together. All right, guys, so let's get this in place. This may not be all that pretty to watch. Just here away. Sometimes getting these things tucked in place can really be a nightmare. I apologize if I'm blocking your view, but there's nothing I can do. Now, a lot of times when you're doing something like this, try to catch, when you can line up a screw hole, catch a screw in place, because it'll save you some aggravation of the thing falling back out of where it was. Actually, I thought this was broken before, but it's not. It's designed that way with a flap. There's another outlet right here, okay, if you need. a lot of times too, when you start catching screws, everything else will start to fall into place. Don't tighten them up because you want to have some flexibility in this. And then sometimes too, stuff will come apart and never go back together correctly. The stuff is distorted. Let me get a light up in there so I can see what the heck I'm doing. Like that. The top one is not lining up for some reason. And that happens sometimes. Because I'm hitting the shield on the bottom side over here. I'm gonna have to let this thing down and reposition the lift, so hang on 1 second. All right, so all I did was put the wheel back on temporarily. If I let it down, I can move the lift because I didn't realize the lift arm was hitting the shield and actually rotated it slightly forward. Because I mean, all it is plastic held in with a couple of screws. So now we'll pull the wheel off and we'll reposition this. So here you can actually see, because the lift was contacting the bottom here, probably when it shifted a little bit. But as you can see, these screws, the markings here, the shield has rotated that way. So I'm gonna have to loosen it all up and get it correct. This can be a pain in the neck when this happens. But what are you going to do? There we go. All right, so now this other stuff should hopefully start to line up. Let's see. I could not get this top screw in before it will. Now everything lines up. All right. Now this has a clutch in it, so you don't wind up over tightening them. let's tighten up the rest of these. I've seen people take like a DeWalt gun and actually whale these things down and strip everything out in the process. So you don't want to do that. All right, let me just catch the screws underneath the front here. And put it up in the air. Now, anytime you're using a lift, be mindful of stuff like ceiling fans and whatnot so you don't crush anything. Obviously, if you're doing this in your garage, be aware of ceiling height, especially even if you're using a floor jack. I've seen people have the hoods open and wind up crushing things. That does it for that. All right, let me put these tools out of my way real quick. And then let's let this down. And then we'll put the wheel on. All right. So like I said, I can't stand how the Germans do it with the bolt of wheels. I'd rather have studs and lugs, but that's just a personal preference. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give him a quick hit with the gun, lightly. And I'm actually going to turn the gun down to a low setting. Just like that, because we're going to torque that wheel in place. Because that's what you're supposed to do. Let's get some more tools out of here. All right, let me let this thing down and let me find out what the wheel torque is supposed to be, and then let's tighten this wheel up. All right, so wheel torque is 103. And then from here, I'm just going to put these little lug caps back on. And all I do is slide on. No big deal. They are squared, so you got to make sure that they line up to the lug nut. Because otherwise you'd be fighting it. All right, so that was pretty painless. Make sure you back down on your torque wrench. It'll make it live longer. If you have a digital one, take the batteries out. That'll make it live longer. And those are expensive. So that's kind of it. Let's let me actually get this thing detrimmed here. I'm going to check the oil real quick. Hang on 1 second. All right, yeah, I mean, because you're here, may as well check the oil. It's the end of the day, so if the customer wants us to check into the oil leak situation, we're going to have to bring it back. So we just don't have the time today. And there is nothing on the stick. Look at that. So we are going to be putting some oil in this. Let me get the rest of these tools out of here, and then let's put some oil in it. All right, so here we go. We're going to put some oil in here. This is 2.5 quarts, but I figure it's empty. So we'll put in about 2. And we'll see where we wind up. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of these bulk oil dispensers and stuff. To me, they're just messy. All right. That was about 1.5. Add a little bit more because it was about halfway. All right, that should be good. Just stick that off to the side. Recheck our oil. Wipe it off just in case some splashed onto the stick and I got an incorrect reading. And it's right at the top of the hash mark, so I'm good with that. All right. So about 2 quarts of oil I had to put into it. All right, so let's go start this up. And then we're going to clear the codes. Actually, let's clear the codes first, and then we're going to start it up. Oh, I might not be able to. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to back out of this. Probably shut it down and restart it. I can tell the connector's still connected because see the green light? That tells me it's still hooked up. Okay. It did set misfire codes there towards the end, but it could have been because the battery was too low. Anything's possible. Could have been because the voltage was too low, creating problems. It's another thing too. If you have low battery voltage, not charging, stuff like that, and you wind up with like misfires or some weird running conditions, do not address the weird running conditions. Fix the voltage problem first. Voltage problems can cause the strangest issues with cars. Seen it a million times. So just always take care of voltage issues first. All right, let's just clear the codes. All right, as you see, 11.8 volts. So it's charging normally now. I'm actually, what I should probably do is clear the, I should go into clear the other codes, like for the power steering. Wait till yeah, I'm a ding dong. Kept hitting return. Let's do this. Engine management, brake. Let's just do a code scan. Let me shut this thing back off. I'm going to put it in the run position. Only thing I don't like is the lights come on, but what are you going to do? Let's do a code scan, and I'm going to clear it. The pre-scan and all that stuff really doesn't matter for what I'm doing. If you're in a body shop or you're doing warranty type work, sometimes they need to know that is it a pre-scan, an after scan, or whatever. All right, let's let this go through its scan, and then let's clear everything. I was sitting there and I realized I had the headlights on auto. That's why the headlights were on before. All right, well, it's still going. It's at 78%. It's going to take a couple more minutes. All right, so finally just completed. So let's exit. Clear all vehicle codes. Hello. We'll clear all DTCs from all modules. That was the radio for some reason. It keeps telling me the connection was interrupted. So, function completed successfully. All right. Well, let's see. I don't know. No, okay. Still gotta check your steering thing. Let's do another code scan, see what comes up. Power steering control module. No signal, no communication. Interesting. That's very interesting. All right, let's let this go through its whole thing again, and then let's look into that real quick. Okay, so power steering control module, power steering control module, power steering control module. Those were codes I just cleared. All right, so it's telling me there's no communication with it. Hello, let's get back. And it locked up. And it happens every once in a while. All right, let me shut it down. What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to disconnect the battery. Let me shut this down, disconnect this, so this doesn't backfeed into the vehicle. And then we're going to disconnect the battery and go that route and see what happens. All right, so shut this down. All right, that's shut down. Let's shut the vehicle down. And then we're going to disconnect this, and we're going to disconnect the battery. All right, so let's disconnect the battery. All right, that doesn't want to come off of there. There we go. Now, what am I going to do? Let's see. Oh no, what are you doing? Discharging capacitors. So do that if there's any capacitors that held any current in them, it actually discharges them. You're not going to ruin anything because the battery's not connected. All right, let's connect the battery. You don't have to go bananas. Tightening it up. It's good enough. Alright, let's see if that changed anything. If not, then we're going to have to find out, does the customer want to go ahead and diagnose that? Because they didn't mention anything about it. Because the weird thing is, it feels like the power steering is working. Oops. Nope. Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. All right. No, see, it's still got an issue. You saw it flash yellow. But it's got power steering. It has power steering. I'm going to take it for a ride, and then we're going to call the customer and see if they want to adjust that, because it may have been like that for a long time. I don't know. Let's do that. All right, so I'm going out on a road test. It turned out the customer had just called just before I left, and that steering light has been on for quite a while. Apparently it was diagnosed by Volkswagen, and it's a problem with the module communicating with other modules. And it seems to be that it's the module itself. So she said it's been like that for a while. The light will go off after a while. It'll come back on. Sometimes it'll stay on for a while, and then other times it'll be off for a while. So, okay, so we're not going to worry about that, but we're on a road test now. Just going to see how this is. All right, so the road test went smooth. No issues. Like I said, it has power steering, so I don't know what's going on with that light. That's to worry about another day, I guess. You know, they don't want to, I mean, they already know what it is. They just are not going to fix it right now. And then we're going to have to get her to come back in regards to the oil leak. That's for another day. It's the end of the day now. All right, well, hopefully you got something out of the video. It's one of my new longer format videos. So hopefully you got something out of it. If you did, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.